but they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
Come rewind, girl, I get the money if you make you mine. If you loving every night, you make you mad. Now only you give me love and make me nice, nice, nice. I feel make you mine.
Girl, I love you, plus I never make you minus. If I let you smoke it, you gon' lose my lighter. If you paranoid, then I'ma spend the night.
You can get a loving every day. Diamond dancing you with my money, I go pay. For your love, I go pay.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome in. You are live with Jill Monroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope that you are relaxed, you know, in a good situation, position, maybe have a snack, a beverage, and get ready to hit these trending topics and headlines with me tonight here on KBLA Talk 1580. Little Chris Brown to start us off because Andy is always on theme, and we are going to be getting into Chris Brown tonight. He has launched a $500 million lawsuit against Warner Brothers for a documentary that they put out. So we're going to get into those details. We're also going to get into a little bit of SZA and Keke Palmer. You know, they went on a press tour for their new film, One of Them Days, that did really well over the weekend. Shout out to them. It's like a Female Friday. And you know, I really shouldn't even say a Female Friday. I feel like that's, even though that is meant as a compliment and it is, you know, said with homage, I am saying that it stands on its own, and what Issa Rae has put together, the entire production, cast, writer. Shout out to SZA for her first screen role. Andy, what you got?
Female-led.
A female-led star vehicle. Yes, a black female-led star vehicle. We could throw that in there too. So shout out to them. But we're going to get into Keke putting SZA on the hot seat about Drake and if Drake is a good kisser. And, you know, a couple of other little details. Well, you know, I always like to start us off with a couple of conversation starters, a few things to get things flowing. And tonight, we have to pay homage. There was someone that we all probably knew about, but didn't realize that it was someone that we respected, but a screenwriter passed away. And he is responsible for some of our favorites, are really, really favorites, like Above the Rim. There's a couple of other flicks, and I apologize because you know what happened? My notes closed. So, yeah, I'm going to get back to that. My notes closed down. So we're going to get back to that, but I really want to pay homage because I feel like there are so many people of the culture that left an impression on us that we may not necessarily know their names or are familiar with, but we're losing recipes, y'all, as they say. So, you know, we want to salute them. So his name is Barry Michael Cooper. He wrote New Jack City, which, come on, how many quotables do we have from that film? He also wrote Sugar Hill. And like I mentioned, Above the Rim. Those are some black cinema classics, right? And he is someone that we probably weren't familiar with his name. He started his career as a journalist. He wrote for Spin Magazine and The Village Voice. And he passed away recently. And right now, there are no updates on how he passed away. But obviously, the mark that he left on the culture is significant. And I wanted to shout him out. Shout out to Terry in the chat. He said, Keke is right. She is a great kisser. Who is she? Come on, Terry, keep up. We're talking about Keke asking SZA about Drake, but we'll get into that later. We'll get into those details, right? But in other news, do you have a Netflix account? If you do, get ready for a price hike. Netflix is going up again in 2025. Yes, we know that they just went up in 2024. At this point, I feel like we just would have been better off with cable in some ways, because all of these different services, they all keep adding on to them. And then they're charging you extra to get it without commercials now. Like, isn't that the point? Netflix hit 302 million subscribers recently, but they are raising their prices. They had record growth in 2024. Their stock, if you're into that, is almost at $1,000 a share. So, things are rolling in. But what I want to know from you, is Netflix worth the cost, Andy?
You know what? I've been a victim. I was anti-Netflix for the longest. I did not want to, engage in that app. But you know me, I'm a wrestling fan.
You are.
And Raw decided to move to Netflix, and I became a member. And then now they want to go ahead and increase the fee, I think, because
of the live sports. They got to pay those bills.
The WWE and all that.
The WWE, the live sports, the live specials that they're putting out. They are paying cash, so they have to, show these board members and stockholders some type of profit, and the profit comes from us as consumers. I want to know, with all the different streaming services and so forth, how much are you putting out a month? And is it equal to what you were paying with cable, or is it less? You also have to include your internet access for that, because that counts too. When we come forward, we're going to get into this Chris Brown versus Warner Brothers topic and other trending topics and headlines. You are locked in to Jill Monroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm working on it.
You're riding with Jill Monroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Now that Donald J. Trump has begun a second term as president, please join the Empowerment Congress and KBLA Talk 1580 to examine the question, where do we go from here? Chaos or democracy? At the Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science. This Saturday, January 25th, some of LA's top elected officials, Representative Sidney Kamlager-Dove, Assembly members Isaac Bryan and Sade El-Hawari will be on hand for what promises to be a lively and informative conversation. Doors open at 8 a.m. The general session, moderated by Tavis Smiley and broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580, begins at 9 a.m. The event is free, but seating is limited. Registration is required. Go to the Empowerment Congress website at www.empowermentcongress.org to register. Where do we go from here? Chaos or democracy? Join the Empowerment Congress and KBLA Talk 1580 this Saturday, January 25th. Doors open at 8 a.m. The free program starts at 9 a.m. Registration is required at www.empowermentcongress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Febreze. So my home is also my office, and before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Charmin Ultra Strong. You can use less, better than the rest. Charmin Ultra Strong. Your booty past the clean test. Salmon weave texture, it's the best. Study up, teach a lesson on fresh. Your booty past the clean test. Yes, sir. Charmin Ultra Strong.
Charmin Ultra Strong with diamond weave texture cleans better than the leading one-ply brand, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Monroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
All right, welcome back in. You are locked in with Jill Monroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, Chris Brown, CB, I feel, has mostly, as of late, been trying to just, kind of mind his business and do him, drop hints, fly over almost, how much was that? How many people were in that crowd in his concert in Africa?
90,000.
90,000 people live watching CB do his thing on stage. So I feel like, he's been chilling a little bit, right? But there was a recent docuseries that came out. It was about his history of violence, right? And a good portion of the series was based off of a woman that was suing him for assault and other charges. Once, even though police declined to file a police report from this woman, and there were several pieces of evidence, including text messages that Chris submitted, that showed that she was not being exactly honest about whatever the situation was between them and their hookup. Essentially, what it sounds as if happens, according to Chris, was that they hooked up and he didn't call her anymore, and she became very persistent. At any rate, her lawyer ended up dropping her and so forth. However, Investigation Discovery released Chris Brown, A History of Violence, a docuseries, and Chris Brown has said that the docuseries was straight up lies. So in court documents that TMZ got a hold of, because TMZ gets everything, CB has accused Warner Brothers Discovery and Ample, that is the production company who created the series, of promoting and publishing defamatory claims against him. He even states that they allegedly had the proof and still went forward anyway with the docuseries, knowing that their narrative was false. He said that not only was this Jane Doe who was at the center of the docuseries repeatedly discredited, but he said that he also has never been convicted or found guilty of any sex-related crime. And so he said that the docuseries labeled him as a serial rapist, and they did so without proof. And basically, they hurt his pockets. And he said that he wants the producers and the Jane Doe to pay up. Well, not the Jane Doe, but essentially, he said that the claims against him are really about past mistakes that he's made, that he's moved fast, and that he's taken accountability for his situation with his ex Rihanna and has grown from them, and that the producers were pushing an old narrative. So Chris Brown said he's been directly impacted, and the cost to make these things better for him, $500 million. And he said that he partially plans to donate to victims of sexual abuse should he be awarded this amount. So not only is he doing this for himself, he also is doing it to help real victims of sexual abuse, in his words. Malkuth X says, wasn't CB trying to get his master's? I believe Chris owns already a great deal of his master's based on his contract, but you might be right about that. However, do you think that it is time to let go of past narratives regarding Chris Brown? Rihanna has forgiven him. She even started dating him again for a period of time. You don't remember when Rihanna and Chris Brown got back together? They also released a song. It was also while he was dealing with Karrueche. You don't remember Christmas Day? He was with Karrueche in the morning, and then the next time we saw him, he was courtside with Rihanna at a Lakers game. This was a few years back. So, but she's obviously moved on. She has a family. She has stated many times over, she does not want to be the face of domestic violence, right? Karrueche has moved on with her life. She let the restraining order she had against him expire, I don't think that they're friends, but I think that they seem to be good, right? So, I'm just wondering why at this, and I understand everything. We're in a content-driven era. content, and there are stories to explore, and there's an audience for such. I just mentioned Chris Brown did 2 concerts over in Africa where 90,000 people were on deck to see him. He's still making music, still drawing an audience when he goes out on tour. When is it time to sort of move past the previous narrative? I know that there were some issues, and even those have been a few years back, where he still was immature, doing things that we consider inappropriate. But again, even in that, at what point is it, okay, he's not for me? And do we move around it? Andy?
I don't think folks will ever move past it for whatever reason. Chris Brown is kind of like that poster child for domestic violence, considering the victim was, Rihanna. People love Rihanna, you know what I mean? So for something like that to happen to her, whoever did it, you're going to catch hell. And I just feel like, we're in a time now where everybody is being held accountable. And, what I'm saying, we're going to hold you to the fire at any given moment. It doesn't matter. In a lot of ways, I think it won't die down until he essentially gets canceled. I don't know how that's possible, but
you think it would take it's been almost 16 years.
Exactly.
It'll be 16 years next month. The funny thing, I remember going to a performance at the Hollywood Athletic Club the night before that event happened, where Rihanna was performing along with Timbaland and Carrie Hilson. And they were there. I remember they were like kind of arguing at the thing. But how far removed are we? Like, they're in 2 totally different places. Rihanna, this is what kind of, and again, I'm not saying you have to forgive him. I'm not saying you have to stamp him. I'm not saying you have to be a consumer of his products. But what I am saying is it necessary to rally against him every time he does something at this current stage? I'm simply asking the question. Mr. Himgardip says, may I move on? Stop hating, trying to make a living off someone's personal life. Maybe, maybe not. But listen, there's always lots of opinions. I just don't know if it's not necessary, because I understand the lessons in it. I understand accountability. But is there anything conceivably he could do outside of not being a public-facing person that would allow people to at least direct their attention to active situations or active causes?
I think like people also just don't like him. I don't think there's anything endearing about his character that people can gravitate to and be like, oh yeah, Chris Brown is a role model. Outside
let me ask you, does he have to be?
He doesn't have to at all.
Because here's the thing, like with Chris Brown, right? I understand when he was doing the Double Mint commercials back in the day and they thought that he was on a different path. There's definitely pre-Rihanna Chris Brown and post-Chris Brown. And he definitely has not done things to put himself in a favorable light for a lot of people. However, if he is just at this point putting out his music and his fans are rocking with him, right? And staying out of, for the most part, the fray. There was just, what was that? Was that last year or the year before, the incident with, that was the year before, the incident with Usher and Tiana Taylor at the skating rink, and, Frank Ocean a few years in that. But I question, there are more important things happening. And do you think, bigger than that, do you think he has a case with this lawsuit, being that a specific portion of it, though he does have a history of violent encounters, not that type of violent encounter?
I don't know. It's gonna be tough. When I read that, he's deciding to sue, I thought about Drake. I was like, look what Drake done, influenced. But when I saw the chatter online, Chris Brown had a lot of support. Actually, people didn't look at it like, oh, this was a desperate attempt or whatnot. I mean, Chris Brown has every right to go ahead and try to clean his name up. And if he has to go this route, I ain't mad at it.
I'm curious to see what the discovery process will be like, what it yields as to what they did know in production, if they did know that this woman emphatically, the story that she was providing was false, and how much do they feel the storyline for the docuseries was about that particular incident, not relating to the other incidents that were around it.
What platform is this docuseries?
Discovery ID. So it is Warner Brothers is the parent company. I don't know if you remember a couple years back, Warner merged with Discovery Channel. So I'm not sure if it's something that is available to stream on Max. I don't know. I can't recall if it aired on their linear network. I do know that Chris Brown had his documentary, that aired on Prime that did very, very well. So, but he is alleging that he lost money from this. And, we don't know what deals he had in place that this may have impacted quietly. So, I don't know. Here in the chat, DJ Black 909 says, "Dear ID channel, leave Chris Brown out of your BS. Whatever he did when he was a teenager, let it go. If Rihanna can forgive him and move on, why can't y'all? Not like y'all know them personally." Pretty Brown Mimi says, "Sexual assault charges have been trailing CB well after Rihanna. Perhaps Rihanna has nothing to do it. It seems to fall on Chris." Terry says, "Being a black man, if Rihanna forgave him, then I'm ready to support him. I believe in giving Chris a second chance." Fahima says, "Both Breezy and Rihanna have moved on, and everyone else should as well. Do these people have a life of their own?" So, I mean, varied opinions about it. I'm curious to see where this goes, and if it is a new wave of artists striking back. Did it even just start with, Andy, I want to hear it. Did it even just start with Drake suing UMG? Do we take it back to Cardi B suing Tasha K for putting out misinformation? Like, are we just in a point where people are like, no, I'm not going to let you play with my image anymore, or in a way that I feel is not representative of the full scope of the narrative surrounding me?
Look, I'm not a woman. Hell, I'm not a man. I'm not a victim of domestic violence, so I can't really, speak on that. But I just think that when Chris Brown pops up on your screen, he's probably triggering for a lot of people, regardless. Like, his image alone is triggering. So, I want to be sensitive. And I want to be sensitive to those people too. So what should we do about that? Because here's the thing. Do we know everyone's triggers? And I guess the question that probably will never be answered, does someone else's triggers that you may not even be aware of outweigh the idea that someone else finds enjoyment from this product and you can opt out? It's a fine line, because you do want to be sensitive and you don't want people to feel like they are in some way being harmed with the imagery or whatever they feel is happening. But at what point, right, do you have to move ahead in order for the individual to move ahead too? That is not your responsibility. But if they are making an attempt to do so, right, because everyone has a past or a mistake or something that someone wouldn't agree with. And I'm not saying that this is minor. I'm saying, what is there a length of time that allows you to at least not look at that person and always think of that moment? And if you don't have to engage with that person, what is a fair time frame, or what is fair? Whose interests best way out here? Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a part of his legacy.
It definitely is going to be a part of his legacy. I'm not saying that it's ever going to go away,
right.
But do you ever think that for some it will not be the lead story?
That's going to be tough right there. I don't know. I can't call it. You know, you think about R. Kelly, you're going to think of something.
I mean, but
Mike Tyson, you're going to think of something.
Right, but don't you think that in those instances, like with R. Kelly, mentioning R. Kelly, multiple victims under like a different, again, I'm not ranking,
we're not.
we're not ranking, but there is a repeated, they're not saying that there wasn't a repeated pattern here, but there was at least also a time frame of no incidents that we are aware of. Hard to call,
It
yeah?
don't matter. You do it one time, you're going to be stamped at, period. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe and his death, yep. As wonderful as we think Kobe is, as many things, 2003
I'm just saying,
is cemented in many minds, and some felt unfairly so when it was brought up in his death.
I think Chris just needs to continue to just work, do his music.
You think this suit was a mistake?
He's probably trying to prove a point. He's probably trying to get some money back, considering he lost some money. But hell, just go ahead and do another concert in Africa. 100,000 people gonna come rock with you.
When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We're going to get into how Keke Palmer put SZA on the spot. All of that and more on the other side. You are locked into KBLA Talk 1580.
Give you many things we could make you dance, so girl, make you back up to the standing mic.
If his phone ring and he never call you back, you should leave him. Let me put some money in your bag. You don't need what I mean is if he do you bad, it ain't where you been, girl, it's where you at.
You're in the know with Jill Monroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know with BIN News. A new wildfire, the Hughes Fire, has burned 500 acres near Santa Clarita, California, and is 0% contained as crews also battle the Palisades and Eaton fires. Strong winds are pushing flames through canyons and up hills. Former Black Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is criticizing President Trump for targeting her on social media, noting she had already resigned from the President's Export Council before he claimed to have fired her. She urged him to focus on global issues instead. The Supreme Court will rule on police immunity in a Houston case where Constable Roberto Felix fatally shot a black driver fleeing a toll stop. The decision could open the door to more excessive force lawsuits. And Reverend Al Sharpton is urging a boycott of companies reversing DEI programs. Speaking at a MLK Day rally, he emphasized King's fight for equality and said the National Action Network will target at least 2 companies within 90 days. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Hey, we're out to Castaic looking at the 5 right now with a live shot over northbound lanes of the 5, and Caltrans is opening lanes as we speak. I'm seeing trucks beginning to slowly roll through. And on the southbound side, we also have a sighting of cars traveling southbound. So that's the closure out of the Grapevine from Grapevine Road that is lifted. Northbound at Parker Road is lifting as we speak, so that's excellent news. Let's also take a look at the drive as you make your way along the 210 in Pasadena. Eastbound slowing from Mountain, delays and stretches all the way to Citrus.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Boston Celtics are in town this week. They play the Clippers tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Thursday night, they play the Lakers at Crypto.com. Clippers forward Kawhi Leonard is expected to play tonight. He sat out Monday's loss to Chicago to rest his right knee. Leonard's performance has made a significant jump in his last 2 games. He's averaging 21 points and shooting 70%. The New York Jets have hired Detroit Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn as their new head coach. Glenn's hiring raises the number of black head coaches in the NFL to 5. There were 6 at the start of the 2024 season. The other 4 black head coaches are Mike Tomlin at Pittsburgh, Todd Bowles at Tampa Bay, D'Amico Ryan at Houston, and Raheem Morris with Atlanta. 4 of the NFL's 32 teams are still looking for a head coach: New Orleans, Jacksonville, Dallas, and Las Vegas. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah.
to give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
You're listening to Jill Monroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's rather extraordinary, so your bus is commentary. A literary genius and a superior beat creator have come together, and we made a musical composition which we think is a remedy to cure all the dance floors that's empty. You wanna dance? We got what you want. Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince buzzing out with the brand new funk.
Welcome back in to KBLA Talk 1580. You are live with Jill Monroe here, giving you your entertainment news update. We want to wish a happy birthday to DJ Jazzy Jeff, the legend. Shouting him out. Aquarius in the building. Aquarius, aren't they? They're in their head. They're creative. I think, kind of makes sense for him as a sign. Dreamers, I believe. No, Pisces are the dreamers. Something like that. Shout out to Jazzy Jeff, though. We love him. Let's get to some of these comments in the YouTube chat because they are bustling over. Fahima says, Cardi B gave Tasha K multiple opportunities to stop, and she continued to slander her. It's not the same scenario. What I mean by that is, I understand that, but just the point that, how many people slander Beyonce on any given moment? How many people slander Jay-Z before they launched into the suit. And really, for the most part, they don't. But it's rare because they're public figures, and it's generally thought of that it is hard to prove the line between news and, maybe speculation in some of these instances, and it's fair play. But, nobody seems to take it lying down. So Lavelle says counseling helps with triggers. He's not the cause of your trauma. Michelle Obama chose to stay home. Triggers. Bars. Andy shout the horns out for that. Listen, you can always opt out. You can. So we have to, think about the fact that Chris Brown is trying to move on and do his thing. His fans seem to love him. If you think about whenever he goes out on tour, we always see across social media the fan photos reposted and the pictures in various formats. Chris shows all of his fans love while he's on tour, and they seem to appreciate him, and what he brings to the table. So I don't know if it's time to give him a break or if it's time for people to practice more not giving attention to what it is that they are not into. All right. Before we move on to Keke and SZA, I wanted to mention that there is a coffee table book that is dropping later this year, 8/19/25 to be exact, and it's called Mamba and Mambacita Forever. And it will feature all photographs of all the murals around LA that pay homage to Kobe and Gigi Bryant. And Vanessa Bryant announced it today. Today is the, oh my gosh, I can't remember how many years, anniversary of Kobe dropping 2006. Okay, so almost 20 years of Kobe dropping 81 on the Toronto Raptors. Shout out to Jalen Rose for being a good sport about being played. Looking, at least he got to be a part of a legendary moment of a lifetime. So shout out to them for that. All right, so we know that SZA and Drake had a brief fling back in 2009, right? Drake mentioned it in a song, SZA has made reference to it. And, years later now, they're both super huge stars, right? They have recorded together in between. And SZA largely, in all of this beef between Kendrick and Drake, has managed to stay Switzerland throughout the process. I mean, we know that she is definitely down with with Kendrick and TDE. She's about to go on a tour with Kendrick, stadium tour, baby. That is getting ready to gear up. I wonder if we'll see SZA at the Super Bowl. We have to, right? We got to see SZA at the Super Bowl, so we'll probably see her on the Super Bowl stage as well. But recently, she appeared on First We Feast with Issa Rae and Keke Palmer. We mentioned, they have their film coming out. And so they were asking each other personal questions. And if they decided that they did not want to answer the question, the object of the show, they had to eat the spicy hot wing, right? And the wings were really, really hot. There was one question that had SZA already drinking milk that she refused to answer when Issa Rae put up photos of Rihanna, Kendrick Lamar, and Justin Bieber and asked her to rank them in order of least talented to most talented. Well, SZA wasn't answering that question. She took a bite of the wing and then she had to chug on the milk, and it was hilarious. And Issa Rae told her she just should have said Justin Bieber and kept it moving to save her taste buds. But she did not. So clearly, she is on the fence about these topics. But Keke, she stirred the pot a bit. She asked SZA if Drake was a good kisser. SZA didn't want to answer. SZA started nibbling on her hot wing. She said, before the question was even asked, she told Keke and Issa, bump you, right? And not bump you. That's the PG version, of course. And she ate the wing because she knew that they were going to come with some speculation. She and Keke Palmer said he must have been terrible if you were being that quiet. And SZA said that, listen, she didn't want to respond because they were children at the time. She said that they were young, that, there was nothing to the situation to really discuss. Keke didn't let up on on her, though. Keke was like, it's a simple good or not good, she said. And SZA still didn't give it up. And, she just nibbled on the wing. And Issa chimed in, said that SZA refusing to answer that question. She said, it's really easy. And the fact that you don't want to say is very, very telling. So do you think that SZA should have answered the question for the lawsuit, or is she been keeping it cute this whole time? Do you think she feels a paradox? Because obviously she just dropped, what was that, last summer, the song with Sexy Red and Drake, Rich Baby Daddy, and she has a couple of other collaborations with them. Yet on the issue of Lana, 30 for 30, Kendrick is clearly talking about Drake when he says something about you like men that think that they look better than you and stuff like that. So I wonder how she feels being in the middle of all of that stuff. Pretty Brown Mimi says, thank you, SZA, for not kissing and telling. It's none of our business. Fahima says, slander and libel are clearly defined. People are held accountable for the breach of each. They are. However, when we're talking about public figures, the line of that is not as clearly defined as it is for people who are regular citizens. It becomes a little harder to prove, especially when you think about, if we were talking about someone like Cardi B, who had a lot of lyrics that were sexually fused, talked about violence and things of that nature. But we saw Tasha lost that case. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into Morris Chestnut. He has a new TV series out, but it looks like Morris might have a second career elsewhere. We'll get into all of that on the other side. Your comments and more. You are locked into Jill Monroe with our entertainment update here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Monroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-511-2112. That's 800-511-2112. 800-511-2112.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services resources for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Monroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back into KBLA Talk 1580. You are live here with Jill Monroe. If, you want to call in and chat about any of these topics, of course, 800-920-1580. Let's get to some of these comments. What is that for? Why are we getting the wearing thing? The comments? Why? Are they doing some crazy stuff in the comments over here? I see Terry says SZA was right in not answering. Terry also says, right, Pretty Brown Mimi, I would never rate your kissing. Oh, okay. That's what. Oh, it's a lot going on out there. Okay, hookups. All right, look at that. We are bringing people together here on KBLA Talk 1580 on this entertainment news update. Talk amongst yourselves in the chat. Maybe do an exchange. Go check out the social media. We could be on the cusp of a new relationship.
Hey, link up and tap into Jill Monroe every day at 6 p.m. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You never know. You get your entertainment news, a little bit more, and maybe a potential mate. How about that? So let's get into this Morris Chestnut now. Everybody loves Morris Chestnut. We talk about it all the time. I was just mentioning last week how his wife has to be one of God's strongest soldiers to endure the constant compliments that her husband receives and the virtual throwing of the panties at Mr. Morris Chestnut. And, but Morris, to his credit, also shows much reverence to his wife. They have been together for well over 20 years, have a beautiful family. He, stands strong with his wife and his love of his wife while still being respectful of his fans and appreciative of them showing him love and appreciation for what he brings, not only his acting skill, but obviously his physical attributes that they do so love. Andy.
He's definitely not Usher.
What you mean?
You see Usher, even though he's married, he be entertaining the whole,
but I think it's a different thing. One is an actor, one is an R&B singer. The whole thing with an R&B singer is you're selling love and the illusion as such.
Yes.
Morris is many different characters. Not all of his characters are lovers and sex symbols. Sometimes there are other things that just happen to be wrapped up in that. So I think that the expectation of such a Morris is not when he is going out and marketing his new liquor brand, whose name escapes me at the moment. Apologies, Morris. He's not feeding women cherries. Right?
Look.
So there's a different expectation if you're going to see Morris Chestnut than when you're going to see Usher.
At the same time, though, with Usher, you can sell love and still be fully clothed. And like you said,
Usher's fully clothed for the most part. Sometimes he shows a little chest.
Okay, well, you ain't got to be feeding nobody no cherries, though. And you got these women doing the most outlandish stuff.
Does he have those women doing the most outlandish stuff? Or are those women taking their moment to show that they possess a certain skill set that they want to let the world, or at least those that are in attendance, know about?
He is triggering them.
Usher's triggering them?
He's
triggering them with the cherries. So fruit brings it out, right?
I'm just saying, Usher, you need to tread lightly, homie. You're a married woman, and I like to believe.
Usher's wife, Jen, works in the music industry. She is there at every step of the way, always right there in the cut. He walks off stage, Jen is right there. So his wife has to be one of God's strongest too.
Well, I hope, after he performs, or after he does like a song and he does his little, changing of the clothes or whatnot, I hope he gives her a big fat kiss, tongue all down her throat. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure she is appreciative of the coins and the generational wealth that has been created for their two small children that is coming in from all of these women coming to the concert and spending the check to sit in the VIP section to potentially get cherries fed to them from Usher. Right? Right. But speaking of, sex symbols and these guys, so Morris Chestnut, he was on First Take with Stephen A. Smith to promote his new CBS show, Watson, which is a contemporary take on Sherlock Holmes and Watson with Morris in the role of Watson. So I think it just debuted this week or it's coming up. So if you're into that sounds like you. Check that out. But social media has been buzzing about how he handled Stephen A. during his debate. They were talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and their chances coming up this weekend. And, for me, I don't got no love for the Philadelphia Eagles right now.
Hell
Shout
to the
out
Commanders.
Jalen Hurts. You up for the Commanders? Well, you know what? I'm repping the Commanders, too. You know why?
Because Jaden Daniels SoCal.
Who is? Jaden
Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is from SoCal?
San Bernardino.
Oh, he's from San Bernardino.
He's still SoCal.
It's still SoCal, so we'll take it.
The IE?
I'm not dissing the IE. Shout out to the IE. But the IE is the IE, and LA is LA. That's all I'm saying.
Still SoCal.
It's still SoCal, so, hugs all around. It's different. I was saying I'm rocking with the Commanders also because of one Magic Johnson, who is one of my favorite players, so gotta rock with Magic, right? But the Eagles also took out my team.
They sure did.
They took out the Rams. I'm not feeling that.
Exactly.
Didn't want to see that.
Hell to the Commanders all the
way. So we want to see the especially since the Commanders have new ownership now. We'd like to see them go all the way. But, Morris knew his way around the stats. He had Stephen A. sitting back because he had some stats that he broke out about Jaden. I was about to say Jalen. So, he had Stephen A. kind of backing on his heels, Stephen A. and Shannon. And so the conversation has been, could Morris, everybody else has a podcast, a second career. Could Morris be someone that we would like to see breaking down sports? I think, go on, Andy.
Cameron and Mace are doing it. Why not?
And are popular doing so and got the bag, not to mention got the bag to do so. So, Morris, he still hoops. He's still out there. He's played football players. Ricky! As well as, why did I just blank on Lance, his character's name in Best Man, played for the New York Giants.
If he goes that route, he just needs to team up with an athlete.
Yeah, I think
Podcast P, Paul George has
Jackie Long.
Jackie Long.
Yeah.
That would be the route to go.
So, maybe, we'll check out Morris Chestnut. There's a lot of celebrities that are tapping into that space, and make no mistake about it, there's a lot of money to be had from these betting companies. Let me say this, though, right? While we're talking about these gambling apps and betting companies that are dropping the bag. What are the gambling addiction programs going to look like in a couple of years? Because I feel like gambling is in the way that it is the way that it's accessible, the way that you can just slide into it. It is kind of like, almost like what but playing the numbers used to be back in the day. I think it is, people think that it is a lot simpler and a lot quicker to get a fast buck in gambling. And it's so easy to do now, seemingly.
I'm one of them individuals.
I play a little bit, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'll test it out. But I'm a cautious person because I like to see my money grow and not go away. So I'm only going to bet little amounts. So I'm not going to really probably make a whole lot of money.
I'm the same way too. I think just like the lottery, you don't want to spend more than what you have.
Yeah.
For me, it is a level of fun to it. It's just like playing a video game to a degree. I play DraftKings, so
exactly DraftKings. But but listen to what you said. It's like playing a video game, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
So do you think? So I feel like the younger generation, especially Gen Z, coming up in that type of environment where it's video games, it's stuff online, games on your phone. Add this to it. I feel the potential for it to be a strong addiction is like wide open, especially, again, part of our content is, and no shade to that, get the bag, do what you do. And they all have little, 800 number sponsorship lines. But I really think even look at the cases that we have had as of late of professional athletes getting in trouble for placing bets and lines on it. It is on them, but it seems so easy, and they're not thinking about the whole process.
Look, I just think that you got these teenagers that are making bank just by streaming, playing Fortnite or whatever video game that's popping right now.
Exactly.
So, and folks gamble online. You know what I'm saying? I could get a $5 game of NBA 2K or Madden right now. If I can make money that way, I'd rather go that route too. So call it addicting because it's profitable.
It's profitable, but not for everybody, right? Not for everybody. And some people are going to lose some big money. Lucas Frank says, I got an 8-leg parlay going right now. I feel you, and you will probably hit that. Again, I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying what it is. Thank you for locking in with me, Jill Monroe, here on KBLA Talk 1580. Make sure you are back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Now, coming up next here is the voice of reason, Zoe Williams. Lock in with him. I will see you tomorrow.
And we knew almost at once it was a so we continued to listen to it. And we knew it was death when I started rapping to it. So I gave a high five to Jeff, and without hesitation popped in my cassette. I took it home that night and analyzed it, rewound the tape over and over and memorized it. That Friday we went to the club and out cold tore it up. You should have seen the people dancing and shaking and moving and jumping and spinning and clapping while the beatbox was grooving and screaming and yelling while on the microphone